Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus Raw. This show was fucking terrible. I will say the Randy Orton Christian thing definitely helped it. And then there was stuff that worked until it didn't work. There were some surprises on the show. Mostly the surprises took the form of this is going to be a disaster, and it wasn't quite a disaster. And it was also really surprising seeing if they're going to do it like this, then they might as well just open it up and let fans into the show. I know I shouldn't get so upset about that kind of thing, but even if you were of the mind that we don't need to follow any kind of regulations or heavy suggestions as far as coronavirus prevention or precautions, the WWE seems just determined to put themselves in a position where employees are going to get sick, and apparently it's happened. So they're now they're not doing tapings today, so everyone can get tested, and then they're going to try to resume and pile things in on Wednesday. Again, whenever wrestling has a chance to lead in a positive way, more often than not, they seem steadfastly refusing to do it. It's just really disappointing, I guess is the easiest way to say it. So let's get into this Raw. We open with the Raw open. Really, really good. I mean, production-wise, WWE's got it going on, no doubt about it. So we've got, oh jeez, MVP and Lashley against R-Truth and Drew McIntyre. Apparently that's a thing that's happening. Okay. We have Asuka and Nia Jax, since they had a double countout finish at the pay-per-view. Okay. And then we've got Seth Rollins, who's invited Dominic, Rey Mysterio's son, to show up. All right. So now we go into the live show at last, and we've got Randy Orton, and as he's cutting a promo, they show a picture of Edge's surgery, like him flayed open. What the fuck is that? We really couldn't convey the idea that Edge is having surgery without showing a really rough picture right at the beginning. What the fuck is going on at WWE? I just don't. It's so tasteless and unnecessarily. I know, again, you probably think I'm making too much of this, but it's so unnecessary. What the fuck ever, man. So you got Christian gets called out by Randy Orton, or he comes out to defend his friend, and then Orton challenges Christian to an unsanctioned match. I gotta say, this is fascinating, like kind of not on the fly booking exactly, but clearly this is a response to Edge being hurt and not being able to do anything for months. And so now Christian, Orton's put on the ticking clock, which is a great thing of, you got to let me know by the end of the show if we're doing this fight. End of the show seems really weird. I wouldn't have gone end of the show. Interview with Garza and Zelina. Of little consequence that we go to commercial. Wow. Not a hint of wrestling in this thing. We come back, and Kevin Owens is coming to the ring, and Angel Garza, and we show the conflicts that they've been having. Isn't it remarkable, by the way? And I think it's possibly a good thing, but like Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins had this big deal whoop-de-doo match at WrestleMania, and then both of them have been basically relegated to putting over mid-card stuff. It's probably the right way to go. But it certainly makes for what feels like inconsequential television. So Kevin Owens is wrestling Angel Garza. They try to get on the same page with his partner helping, but then Zelina gets mad because they start fighting each other or having a conflict. So Zelina walks away, and Kevin Owens hits a stunner and wins. Okay. Okay. Lashley and Drew have a confrontation, or we see clips of their thing and their match from Backlash. Now we have an interview with MVP and Lashley, where Lashley's, they're in a lot of segments tonight. We go to commercial. You'll notice this. I'm going to say that a lot. We go to commercial. A lot of commercials with not a lot happening in between. In the ring, we have MVP and Lashley, and now and MVP is putting Lashley in the thing of like, I helped you get this title shot, blah 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 blah. I'm worth a lot to you. Lana comes to the ring. No, I'm worth more, and they go back and forth, and it's completely heatless. You can even feel it even from their preset audience of people under contract can't seem to muster up any enthusiasm for this shit. And then Lashley says he wants a divorce. Oh, okay. Street Profits and Viking Raiders. They're the Viking Prophets again, and they're all good with each other. What the fuck? Okay. And then they're confronted by the ninjas, including that big ninja. Okay. We go to commercial. Oh boy. We come back. Street Profits dancing with the people in the audience, which the WWE in their minds are probably going, this is going to feel really great. This is going to make people forget about everything going on. Instead, it just it takes your mind completely out of the moment they're trying to create, and you're just going like, is this allowed? This feels really irresponsible. Like that's the thing that's going through most people's minds. This is a general thing about wrestling. We have a chance to sort of invent and create, and instead we just seem doggedly determined to go against reality, but not in the good way that takes people out of it, but instead reminds people like, man, like things may never get back to normal, because they're not creating sort of a vibrant world for us to engage with, and they're continually reminding us that the people who are in charge at the WWE aren't the brightest bulbs at the Christmas tree, and we don't feel taken care of as audience members. I might be reading into that a lot, but I think ratings reflect that, and the general malaise and how unengaging the shows are. Just saying. So Street Profits are with the Viking Raiders against Akira Tozawa, who never tags in, and 3 jobber ninjas. My God, was I reminded of PCW and Campus Strikeforce with this stuff. But again, I don't get any of it. And so they win in a squash, which is fine. The big ninja makes an appearance with Akira very powerful and like very proud next to him. But then Big Show shows up. So Big Show's a face after being heel, challenging Drew McIntyre right after he won the title at WrestleMania. Fuck this shit. I wrote down, just fuck this shit. It's so bad, and I don't see what's being advanced. So is Tozawa and this group of like faceless ninjas going to be a thing? It really feels like the Dark Order, except at least they're not pushing them as a thing. So I guess there's that. We have an interview with Seth. Again. We have ads for NXT during this commercial break, and we're at the 1 hour mark. 1 hour mark. We had a match between Kevin Owens and Angel Garza that feels like a regurgitation of what we've seen over the last 4 shows. And then we had a squash match that really served nothing except to set up Big Show against this big ninja, which didn't happen and doesn't look like it's going to happen. So what are we doing? Great. We come back. We recap Orton and Christian from the first hour. Jeez Louise. We're recapping Ray and Seth and everything that's gone on between them. Seth to the ring. Ray comes on screen begging Seth basically to not hurt Dominic. But Seth saying Dominic should join me. Ray said that's never going to happen. Dominic shows up, whoops Seth. I actually like this segment. He kind of lays a whooping on Seth, does the duck dodge, dive, dodge with the disciples of Seth Rollins. And but then, he escapes through the crowd, and your mind immediately goes to like, feels like they shouldn't be doing this, whatever. We have R-Truth with MVP and Lashley. It looks like he's going to be in trouble. Lashley's like, I'm going to kick your ass, and then R-Truth just leaves, and MVP and Lashley are just left flat-footed, apparently not responding to that. Commercial. Firefly Funhouse. Okay, and then Mandy Rose is going to do a thing. Okay, that's what's happening on SmackDown. We come back from commercial. Now MVP and Lashley are confronting R-Truth. They've cornered him, but then Drew has his back. What? Okay, I thought he walked away and they weren't going to follow him, but I guess, Jesus. And now it's the titles are on the line for R-Truth and Drew McIntyre. What? Why? Okay. Match number 3 at last as we approach the hour-and-a-half mark of this show. Liv Morgan and Natalya. Oh boy. And apparently a foregone conclusion match. And yet another one against the Iconics. The Iconics win. They call out Sasha and Bayley, who don't come out. And then they say, we're going to get a title shot next week. Because we know people who know people who know people. Christian's there with Big Show. Finally, we get some play on this thing, and Big Show's like, dude, don't do it. The locker room would understand. Big Show sounded great here, and he's becoming quite the great natural performer. He's always been animated, and he's always had a personality, but Big Show has a comfort level here that comes with just being completely comfortable with who you are and how you're performing, and it really comes across as real, and Christian does a good job, too. Now we go to a commercial break, and we're at the hour-and-a-half mark officially. Wow. Liv Morgan gets yelled at by Natalya. And so she leaves. Huh? And then Lana comes out and complains about how she's getting divorced. People don't appreciate her. And Natalya and her goes, yeah. And then so they have a bond established. Okay, if they go somewhere with this, I guess, sure. Interview with Christian. He accepts the unsanctioned match. Good. Right at the hour-and-a-half mark. Why couldn't they have just said, I'll give you, well, whatever. It works. MVP with a nice little segment with Apollo Crews, where Apollo Crews basically brushes him off, and MVP gets mad about that. Charlotte and Ric Flair with a really bad bit. God, this was fucking awful. And he asks, like, who gets under your skin, Charlotte? And she goes, no, nobody really. I mean, it's of no consequence. I guess that's the excuse of having Ric Flair here, which did have a great payoff. But this thing was like, what the fuck is going on? Just so many. Was it just to get Charlotte on screen? I don't know. 4, Apollo Crews versus Shelton Benjamin. Is this for the title? They never establish it. Apollo Crews comes out first. Nothing seems to indicate it's for the title. So I guess we have another foregone conclusion match. Shelton Benjamin with a promo, which was well done, but nonsensical, where Shelton Benjamin goes like, hey, you should listen to MVP. He's really great. Why would Shelton Benjamin? What? Okay, Shelton Benjamin tries to cheat by putting his feet on the ropes on a roll-up, but the referee catches it, but then Crews kind of cheats on a roll-up, which was a moment that I liked. It makes Crews look like not such a dummy. All right, so R-Truth is with the ninjas, and Drew backs him up and establishes that the whole point of this segment is, oh, no, not both of our titles are on the line, just yours. Haha. Commercial. We hear about the Undertaker series, which is really great. And it's one of those things that the echo of how great these things are makes you realize how great things are not right now in wrestling. Blunt, brutal. Asuka Nia clips. Interview with Asuka. Usual thing there. R-Truth and Drew. This is where they established that only the WWE title is on the line. So that bit before was just a comedy bit. I mean, having guys come out for 4 or 5 segments a piece, and there's multiple people that have to do it. I mean, they have 250 people under fucking contract. What are we doing? It's so painful. So interview with Asuka. We have the interview with R-Truth and Drew. And we have another commercial. And we're at the 2-hour mark. Wow. Another an ad for NXT. We come back. Viking Profits And Show comes up with the idea of, hey, maybe you guys should settle this tiebreaker by having a match against each other. And they declare it genius. Fuck. Heatless bullshit. Number 5 match happening in our last hour at last. Keep in mind that most of these all of them have been foregone conclusion matches, and 3 out of the 4 were virtual squashes up to now. Lashley and MVP against R-Truth and Drew. Well, they've built this thing up enough, and we go to commercial. Holy shit, another commercial. Then we go back. R-Truth is taking heat. Predictably, eventually Drew gets the hot tag and comes in, does his thing, gets a Claymore on MVP. And then in a move I thought was interesting, tags in R-Truth, does the rocket launcher so he can get the pin. It's a nice little wrinkle there, and I'm sure no more is going to be made about it, but it's just like, it's interesting because you think he would be desperate to hold on to the title and get the pin, but he was selfless and took in R-Truth. And there were some great visuals, like the two of them raising their respective titles at the same time. I thought was really nice. Just little things like that. I love the idea of the main champ giving a rub to R-Truth, all that stuff. Ric Flair talking to Christian, trying to talk Christian out of doing the match. Great. And it's a great thing because it establishes why Ric Flair comes to the ring later. No problem there. But we go to commercial. Holy crap. Bayley and Sasha, they're everywhere. They're on everybody's show, and they're talking about how they're going to go here and there and the other. The Iconics come out. Now they make the match after Sasha gets slapped. A good little bit. The women are doing a really great job. Even if they're being presented in a way that's not so great, they're making greatness out of it. I appreciate that. We recap the thing with Dominic and Seth's guy, and we establish that Rey Mysterio is going to be here next week. And now we go into the match. Our de facto main event, since the Orton-Christian thing is unsanctioned, as they keep saying, which, again, just feels really weird. It's unsanctioned, but yet we're going to have a ref, and we're going to have whatever. Nia Jax comes to the ring and commercial. Holy shit. And then Asuka comes to the ring. I realized, looking at the two of them, quote-unquote, performing, that Nia Jax is like Kristen Stewart in the Twilight movies, which is the stereotype that people keep of Kristen Stewart, that she's like emotionless. She's not even really able to convey. And I realize Asuka is like Kristen Stewart since Twilight. And for people who have been sleeping on Kristen Stewart the last few years, she's become this, not become, in Twilight, clearly she was directed to be that way. And she's taken on these sort of dangerous roles and happy roles and very serious roles and very sexy roles and really pulled them off. So I just have that in my notes. Nia is like Kristen Stewart in Twilight movies. Asuka is like Kristen Stewart since. And I really appreciate that. Asuka's a great performer. Go to commercial. Then we come back. Nia pushes the ref in an interesting, though nonsensical spot, and then Asuka rolls her up, and the referee, who is about to disqualify Nia, instead rushes over and does a quick count. It's interesting. I'm, in the hands of booking and writing that I would trust more. I would say that this is the start of something really interesting, but I don't trust the WWE, and I think a lot of people don't either. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. I hope they do. An interview with Orton. Commercial. Christian comes out. Ric Flair comes out. This segment was brilliantly done. Ric Flair, please, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. And then low blows Christian. Phenomenal. Orton punts him in the head after promising RKO again and again and again and again. He doesn't do it. Very heelish. Completely worked. Really liked the end of the show. I was chatting with friends as it was going on, and we were talking about Orton and how funny his tweets were in response to the Edge thing and how great and heelish they were. And I said, well, maybe he and Christian can save this last segment. And it turns out Christian and Ric Flair did. Whew. Rough stuff, rough show. But I got through it. I got you through it. And hopefully the WWE can capitalize and start paying off on some of these things that they're giving so many segments and devoting so much time to. Let's hope they all pay off. This has been Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling.